This program is proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi, Nintendo, McDonald's and Reebok.
Listen!
To the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. It's great to have your company for NBL Mitsubishi Challenge action. Good game for you tonight. It's the Steele City Challenge. That's right, the clash of the birds, the Newcastle Falcons versus the Illawarra Hawks. Now, both these sides allow their opponents to score the same number of points, 102 a game. But the Falcons are out shooting the Hawks in offence by 7 points a game. So the Hawks really have to contain what is a pretty hot Falcon side at the moment. So it's do or die for the Hawks at this stage, isn't it, Greg?
Yeah, it really is a difficult night for the Hawks here in Newcastle. Newcastle's on an absolute high, a wave of emotion after their brilliant effort last week when they got up by 31 points over Perth. And on the other hand, Illawarra has been struggling. They have one good win to their credit in recent weeks, and that was over the competition leaders North Melbourne. They've really been struggling, losing 5 out of 6. They rely on Butch Hayes and Melvin Thomas to get them home. But Derrick and Michael Johnson are in great form outside for Newcastle, and I would expect them to win again. Let's take a look at the starting lineup.
Okay, for the Falcons, we're starting with Rockin and Tony Jensen, who had an absolute wow of a game against Perth Wildcats last week. Johnson and Kruger there in the forwards, and Terry Dozier in the centre. We've got Butch Hayes and Chris Steele starting as guards for the Illawarra Hawks. Mcdonald and Melvin Thomas there in the forwards, and Chuck Harmison, number 4, in the centre.
Take a look at the benches now. You'll find that Newcastle has some real strength there. They've got Sean Dennis, Marty McLean very quick, and some big guys in Alexander, Simpson and Kuiper they can call on because the Falcons are going small again tonight. For the Hawks, it's Adams, another big man, Flynn, who can shoot the ball from outside. Brandon, Corcoran and Voss are all potent. So really, not much in the bench, but the Falcons very, very big and strong.
So there's the scene as referee Eddie Crouch gets set to jump it. Melvin Thomas jumping all over Terry Dozier. He took him by surprise there. That'll be a great matchup, won't it? Melvin Thomas and Terry Dozier, Butch Hayes and Derrick Rucker. Tremendous match. And the assist straight away from Thomas. No, underneath, Harmison gets the first basket of the night, so they're away 1 out of 1.
Very clever start there from the Illawarra Hawks, the visitors tonight, and don't they need a win here? They need to win the game to stay in touch with the top 8. They really are struggling, and Grant Kruger goes to the basket. Very, very solid, and they need a good start, Illawarra, because they've been falling behind and giving teams 10-point start early. And if they give this team, the Falcons, 10-point start and let them get on a roll, then they'll be in plenty of trouble. So we'll see whether the Hawks can hold early, stay solid. Well, that's a great start. Butch Hayes. So they're 2 from 2 from the floor.
And what a great assist earlier we just saw from Derrick Rucker, who still leads the Good Hands Award. And Tony Jensen, who's coming off the game of the year as far as he's concerned. The one-hander off glass is tremendous, so nobody's missing. 100% shooting averages so far. It's 4 apiece, just over 1 minute of game time gone.
And a mild surprise here, you see Tony Jensen has taken the job on Butch Hayes, while Derrick Rucker's down low on Chris Steele, and Steele knows he travels. Well, he was trying to take him down low and using his height advantage in the low block to take Rucker on down there and maybe even get him into some early foul trouble. But a decision there from Coach Tom Wisman. At the other end, of course, Alan Black, you saw on your screen there, with a little bit of a headache here. Needs to win this game.
Well, we'll just see what the Falcons bench can do. I suppose we're talking about it, even the the other 3 players on the court. No, side ball. So referee John Payne has picked up a charging foul on Grant Kruger, and he knew it straight away.
And it's brilliant defense, isn't it, from Butch Hayes inside. He took plenty, he took all Kruger had, and it was a good call from John Payne. So good quality start to the game, some good defense, and at the other end, some fine offense. Chuck Harmison can't make it, and it's a foul this time. It'll go against Dean McDonald.
Certainly does. So a couple of fouls early, and it's 4 apiece. It's if you look at the import situation of these two sides, Rucker scoring 26 a game, Dozier 21. That's 47 between them. Melvin Thomas and Butch Hayes actually score 48 between them, so there's nothing much there, but the Falcons roster has a better scoring spread. Now, here's one of the reasons. No, he couldn't make it, Tony Jensen. Chris Steele misses as well, rebounded by Grant Kruger, so Derrick comes away with it. Played and here he has missed the three-pointer. Oh, and he started where he left off. He got 8 out of 10 last week and top scored, and Mike Johnson has hit 1 out of 1 tonight already. A very quick answer from Melvin Thomas.
And he went to the other end and took down the defensive rebound, so Mike Johnson again involved. He's a seasoned campaigner, a veteran, and he'll be playing with plenty of confidence after last week. And Terry Dozier goes inside and makes the little jumper from the top of the key. So 9-4, a great start to the Falcons, and the Hawks in trouble early.
And we saw the Newcastle Falcons beat the Perth Wildcats by 30 points last week after being down by 10 very early in the first quarter. So they can come from behind, but you don't want to give them a 10-point lead. They are a very good team playing from in front, believe it or not. They do manage to hang on to a lead. And the Falcons are rarely beaten after going ahead. Just one of those strange statistics. Can't really put your finger on it. The Hawks won't want to let them get away with anything. It's 9-4 at the moment.
And after hitting their first 2 shots, the Hawks just can't find the basket. That was an easy open jumper for Melvin Thomas. He couldn't do anything about it. Dozier. Oh, yes, that's a lovely shot. Sweet shooting, Dozier. Just took him one-on-one, little bounce and fade away. And Thomas had no chance of stopping that. And Dozier takes the job at the other end, trying to shut down Thomas. So let's see how Hayes goes with Jensen. Jensen is lightning fast, and I'm sure he'll handle anything Hayes can throw up at him. Here's Thomas. Oh, nice move, but again, the basket's no good. And here's Jensen now. He'll take them on. He'll look for Dozier. Will he? Yes, around the corner, the attempt, but it didn't happen.
Tony Jensen remonstrating with the referee, and one may suggest rightly so. Let's have a look here. You can't really see what's going on here. It's just around the side. I thought that there was Butch Hayes hanging onto a jumper, a singlet earlier on, and he's being warned by referee Eddie Krause. So they have seen it. And so there it is, the first time out of the match. And it's 11 Newcastle Falcons, Illawarra Hawks 4. So it's 11-4, Falcons over the Hawks. Very early days, 8 minutes, 11 seconds left in the first quarter at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. Derrick Rockin, a little bit of strapping on that middle finger. And he's shooting hand, so make sure that one's working, says Tom Wiseman. Tony Jensen now. Rucker. Butch Hayes gets around Kruger and has foiled the shot and has done pretty well. So there's the turnover. Thomas comes away with it now. Pretty good D from the Illawarra Hawks.
Yeah, great stuff from Butch Hayes. He was really determined there not to let Rucker get away from him. And a magnificent effort to shut him down. They've gone to what appears to be a zone or a match-up zone. We'll try and check it out.
Yeah, it's a bit of everything, really. There he is, William Hayes, nicknamed Butch. A bit of a veteran, really, I suppose, and a pretty strong move from Chris Steele as well on the baseline of glass. It's 11-6. Coach Alan Black applauds that one. That's more like what they wanted because they've scored after a turnover. That's how you get back into the game. Well, and the smile on the face of Melvin Thomas. Eddie Crouch has picked him up. It wasn't for the block, it was for grabbing onto the man who was trying to scoot round him. Grant Kruger with plenty of room. Mike Johnson, who's had the hot hand recently. Good pass to Terry Dozier, who jumps and probably will go to the line. We'll just have a look at was it during? Yes, he will have a shot. A couple, in fact.
Yeah, very good offense on the out-of-bounds play. They went away to the weak side, and Terry Dozier came over strongly, and that's how he was free in a good shooting position. And he draws the foul and will go to the line. And Dozier having a good night out so far. Very impressive.
This is the first of 2, and he makes it. And this should be an interesting part of the game because the Falcons are one of the better shooters from the stripe, but the Hawks outshoot them. 13-6. 7:15 left in the first quarter.
A little bit of pressure here now from the Falcons. They go up in a 1-2-1-1 zone press. going back to a man-to-man behind the top three. They try the double team and it almost comes off. He stepped back and it works. So pressure defence has shut them down. Mike Johnson and Derrick Rockin were way back there looking to cut off the pass, and the three big guys came up. So a few tricks here coming out from the Newcastle Falcons, and it's upsetting the Hawks early in the game.
Yes, they've studied the form guide, looked at the videos. Mike Johnson from way downtown. Oh, well, he can miss one. What do you know? Butch Hayes. There's Tony Jensen on him. Harmison up to Thomas. It fakes out to Harmison, who does make it. So it's 13-8. Just see what sort of defence the Hawks employ here at the moment.
Straight up man-to-man from them, and it's Rucker against Hayes. Straight up dual Dozier, who feels he's hot tonight, comes up short but gets a second chance. And Melvin Thomas out of the game, but now he comes back into defence. And Tony Jensen will run the show, so let's see what they can produce. Rucker high with the screen, leads off, just flared away. They come round to Johnson. Tony Jensen looks in low, looked for Kruger, but took the shot himself, and it goes down. So that was well executed offence from the Newcastle Falcons. 15-8 they lead, and they look strong early.
Well, it sounds like in the offence, the Newcastle Falcons have worked out, as we see the timeout, that they have to move the ball quick. And I noticed they were giving Terry Dozier plenty of room on the shot. Melvin Thomas was standing in the centre of the key, and they were manning up at the time. And Terry Dozier, it missed, so he was vindicated there, but you don't want to do that too often. There's Alan Black. Let's hear what he has to say to the guys. It doesn't look like he's happy.
Earlier, so we know exactly what we're going to get done. Let's stay more than switch. All right, let's stay with them. I don't think those screens are that tough that you need to switch. All right, let's stay. You two switch on the side, and the rest of you guys, you stay. All right, stay with your man and just work on that. All right, let's stay with 5 in the 3-out-2 in. You know, we've got the open shots, we're fine offensively. All right, all they're doing is they're just staying in that zone, in that matchup zone. All right, if we just have a bit of movement off the 5, we're okay. We'll get some open shots against them, right? Dump the ball inside, go to work, right? Go to work on Dozier. He's not the same player he was last year, right? Go at him. You'll be able to take it past him, all right? But then, you know, we allowed offensive board on that last one. You know, we just got to play harder out there, guys. Just got to get out that loose ball a little bit more. Push it if it's on. If it's not, bring it out, all right? Big time now, next 3 minutes, all right? Let's play. Go.
Well, there's Alan Black revving his team up, telling them to stay with their man and not switch on the screens. So he's saying to them, you've got your responsibility, let's look after your man. Interesting comment there that Terry Dozier, that man on screen, is not the same player he was. Well, he is gradually getting back to full fitness from injury, and I must say his start here has been his brightest of 1994, so maybe he'll prove it wrong, but there's been a bit of slanging between these two teams, and in the paper this morning, Coach Tom Wisman was quoted as saying Illawarra haven't made any improvement. Well, of course, those papers were sitting up down at the West Executive Inn where the players are staying, and they've all read it back to front and inside out, and they're none too happy about it, Illawarra. But whether they can do much about it's another matter. Here they come now. They sure are scrapping. Look at Rucker. Brilliant. Oh, he's brought down from behind. Accidentally, I'd like to think. Let's have another look at that if we can. I'm not sure whether we've got that.
I think he's okay. There was a bit of a trim, but it's called a hold. There's pretty strong D on Terry Dozier.
Now, this is it coming up here. You'll see Rucker really fight for it. And we'll have a look at the play as he gets up and takes it away. He's on the way. It's Mick Corcoran after him well. Accidental push in the back.
Yeah, and it's a side ball, so rightly not called intentional. Obviously, Alan Black's looked at the stats or something, but I hate to point out that Terry Dozier's actually shooting the same figures he was last year. And he was saying Terry Dozier wasn't as good as he was last year when talking about offence. Now, perhaps he was talking about defence and you know, just was using the statistics to lie a little bit or something. But I wouldn't like to tell Terry before the game he wasn't as good as he was last year. It may have the same effect as that alleged comment in the paper has had on the Hawks.
No, well, he probably hasn't dunked the ball as much, and he certainly hasn't had the same amount of blocks. So in that respect,
that's right.
He's coming back from injury, though, and you've got to take that into account. But he looks pretty dangerous out here tonight. But Melvin Thomas, that time, takes it down low and scores. So 15 points to 10, and the Hawks hanging on. And, of course, as we've pointed out a couple of times, big game for them. I think if they lose this and they fall 3 or 4 wins away from that top 8, then they'll be gone for 1994. It's that critical for Illawarra, and they pick the ball up off the iron and come down for another shot at it.
Yes, the Illawarra Hawks won't want to lose this match. You don't like to lose any, but these ones are very, very important. They lost a close one to the Kings last weekend, and that hurt them at home. 15-12 now.
That was a sensational basket from Butch Hayes, wasn't it? Just all the one-on-one skills there.
Yes, he's great, isn't he? The point guard from Omaha, Nebraska. Tremendous player. Been playing since he was 12 to 13, and he shows all the class of a veteran too. Kruger off glass, couldn't work out.
Could have been a foul there. Could have been a foul. Wasn't called. Back inside, Thomas goes to the hole, and the foul will be called this time.
It's on Jensen, number 9. Owns up to it. And so Melvin Thomas will go to the line. 200 centimetres tall. Weighs 105 kilograms. Big guy. And a real star of the NBL, whilst keeping basically a low profile, I suppose you could say. Wouldn't be too many teams that couldn't find a spot for this man. Their starting 5.
Only a 1-point game. They led 11-4 at one stage. The Falcons, and now the Hawks have come storming back and just not getting the easy shots they were earlier. So they've tightened up considerably here and playing with a lot of enthusiasm now. The Illawarra Hawks, Tony Jensen. Oh, killer crossover, I think they called it. And that was enough to beat Mick Corcoran. All ends up, and a great shot on the end of it.
Yes, that was for 2. I guess both sides would be happy to be within close range of each other, but the Falcons, having got off to that great start, will be ruining that'll be backcourt. So Falcons ball from the side. It's a bit of a problem there, but only because the man was so in behind the baseline and did well to get there. So Falcons will be thankful for a turnover. They could score some unanswered points here. Mike Johnson out to Rucker. Bush Hayes comes out on him. He stops and shoots. And no. Thomas, no, they haven't managed to get the rebound. No. Kruger grabs it. Terry Dozier will take it. Not good for the shooting percentages in offense, but the points count. It's 19-14.
Well, Grant Kruger and Terry Dozier just would not give up on that. And they've reaped the reward, 19-14, but it was pretty tough going to get in there and get that many offensive boards. It sure kept the stats guys busy. Here's Craig Adams, turnaround jumper, and no score, travel.
And Tom Wisman just saying to John Payne, no, you meant double dribble, didn't you? So, regardless, Alan Blake shakes his head. And again, the Falcons get the chance to score unanswered points. So they've put in 2 baskets now with no reply after the Hawks pulled it back to just 1 point. Terry Dozier back out to Derrick Rucker, who has a cut on the knee, obviously from that fall earlier in the game. Now there it is. That's the 3rd basket in a row. The Hawks can't score.
Tremendous power from Grant Kruger. Great pass too. Fine assist from Rucker down low, but Kruger really, once again, asserting himself in the middle. And having a great year, Grant Kruger. Go down low now where Hayes posts up, fade away over Johnson. It was a tough shot, good defense again from the Falcons. 21-14 with another chance to kick away. 2 minutes out from half-time and quarter time, and great shot, 2 points only for Derrick Rucker, and the girls loved it.
23-14. Now, after pulling it back to 1 point with 4.5 minutes to go, here we are, 23-14. 9-point ball game, 1:40 left in it. Well, Thomas does something to get back into it. Cops one in the eye. No harm done. Derrick Rucker shown he's got a pretty hot hand tonight. That screen at the top that we heard Alan Black saying he didn't think was very tough, and indeed they have managed to get around it. Not that one though, and they can't miss. It's 25-16.
Go buy a lottery ticket, Tony.
My goodness. He didn't really need the screen. That was just almost a speculator, but what class. He's this is 2 weeks in a row now. He's been shooting the lights out.
I'm sure Coach Tom Wisman will claim that one as something he works out at training. An amazing shot, a miracle from Tony Jensen. He can do no wrong. Foul off the ball now called by John Payne, and it goes against Jensen at the defensive end.
Yes, it will. Number 9, 25-16 at the moment. 9-point ball game. Just over 60 seconds left in it. Hawks get the ball from the side. They'll need a couple of baskets, basically. They might try the 3. No, they're inside for 2. It's too long. And Thomas comes up with the offensive rebound, and he's missed it, but the foul has been called. And is that going to be on Tony Jensen again? No, it's on Grant Kruger.
Well, they didn't mind the first, you see the foul there in replay, but the first shot, they didn't mind Craig Adams firing it up from well outside, but they should have been prepared to go after the rebound. They allowed Thomas in there, and he's going to hurt you. If he gets the ball inside, he'll get after you. So Grant Kruger takes a break after that passage of play, and big Paul Kuiper comes in, and he could really have an influence on this game because they don't have anyone, the Hawks, of his bulk and muscle. The first shot is missed by Thomas, so we'll see what sort of influence the big fellow 00 Paul Kuiper can have. He ought to be pretty hard to stop in these circumstances.
Yes, he won't be, I don't suppose, happy about starting the game so late. Unfortunately for him, the Falcons have done pretty well with this kind of format, haven't they, in recent weeks? Tony Jensen starting, Mike Johnson, and, you know, really, I suppose, Paul Kuiper's just got to show some form.
That's right. It was 7 weeks ago they went small. They decided to start with Rockin, that man with the ball now, and Jensen, Mike Johnson, inside goes. As we suggested, he'd be hard to stop, and he sure is. Kuiper comes in, but with that 5, they really have had success and won 6 out of 7 games since they changed their starting lineup, so you can hardly argue with it.
Yes, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, is the saying, I guess. And so here we come to probably the second last play, but definitely the last play, I would say, for Illawarra in this quarter. Less than 30 seconds left in the game. 10 on the shot clock. Thomas takes it off glass and just misses it. And away we go. Falcons now from Kuiper to Mike Johnson across to Derrick Rockin. He drives way up. It's in.
Class act with a capital C.
Well, they really took the fast break, and so Illawarra do get another play, which they'll be thankful for. Their chance for 3 now. No, couldn't quite make it, and boy, some heavy work there on Paul Kuiper. But there it is, at the end of the first quarter at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre, the Hawks and the Falcons. It's pretty tough out there. The Falcons have taken money in the first quarter. 29-16, back in a minute.
Do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No. Do you want me to slam? Yeah. Get out the way, get out the way. Do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No. Do you want me to slam? Yeah. See ya.
Welcome back to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. Second quarter action now. The Falcons taking the first one by 29-16. Pretty good percentages too.
Yeah, we checked those out. 62% from the floor for the Falcons. That is red hot shooting. The Hawks only 44%. And it's not getting any better. And it's going to be backcourt, so an early turnover goes to the Falcons. That 62% is a very, very high statistic, and you wouldn't expect them to maintain that. But you can put it down to Tony Jensen, the man who just threw the ball in. He has 4 from 5 for the field for 8 points, and Terry Dozier also has 8 in the game. So they've been very potent in offense. Derrick Rockin can't make it. They're off on the break. Oh, quick feet, Butch Hayes.
It's a quick game.
Thomas, nothing going right here for the Hawks.
That's the third backcourt we've seen too in only the first quarter of the game. Well, beginning of the second quarter, admittedly. So they're not hanging on to it too well.
A reflection of some pretty tough defense from the Newcastle Falcons. Playing with loads of confidence. Oh, Jensen leaves them stranded. Can't make it, but they're after the boards. Kuiper and also Johnson, but it goes the other way to the Hawks.
And so the percentage is just dropping slightly for the Newcastle Falcons, who are up on the Hawks anyway this year, shooting 49. The Hawks is 47, so not much in it really, but the Hawks are noticeably down on their percentage and the Falcons way up on theirs. So there's the difference in the game, and that is reflected in the score. No one troubling the scorer in this quarter so far. Now they are.
Melvin Thomas. Terry Dozier is not quite the player he used to be. He's on a cracker pace here of 8 points, and he already has 5 rebounds.
Yeah, well, Alan Black must obviously have been talking about Terry Dozier's defensive role alone, even though he was talking about an offensive play when he made that comment. But I suppose that's motivational talk, really, and may have done something to fire his team up, because they did come back into it, but the Falcons just threw Rucker and Jensen in the last part of the first quarter, really romped away with it. 29-18 at the moment. Chris Steele, former Falcon, whose motto for the game is think. That's a pretty succinct motto, isn't it? Melvin Thomas now, the jumper, double pump, and it's in.
Dear me. Melvin Thomas has come out. He shot well early in this second quarter, 2 from 2, and he's got his team back now within striking distance at 29-20.
Terry Dozier just providing the screen for Derrick Rockin, but Butch Hayes, I must say, is doing a tremendous job of getting around these screens. He's so quick, isn't he? Very, very much underrated player. I don't know if he is underrated, I don't suppose. He just doesn't figure in all the top talk, but no one takes him lightly, Butch Hayes. He's a tremendous player.
Well, you're kidding.
Well, what sort of shot was that?
No chance.
That was a good one. I don't think he meant that. He's obviously off balance.
Oh, Jensen, take a bow.
Oh, it didn't quite come. It deserved a basket, didn't it, just for that Jensen assist. And it goes the Hawks' way, so everything's happening here. We've got wild shots and indiscriminate passing, and it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, they need to take control here. The Hawks, another conversion now will make it very interesting. They kick it around, go down to Mcdonald, inside Harmison. Oh, and he's blocked by Kuiper, but the second attempt doesn't go down, and they really need to make those shots, the Hawks. They get 3 opportunities and still can't get it away, and it goes to Dozier. Up the court now, Tony Jensen pushes it at Mcdonald, kicks it round to Rucker. Rucker looks at Hayes, but his speed is sensational. So's Rucker, and he's tackled. The only way they can stop him, the great man, and they pull him down.
Have a look at this. Derrick Rucker gets around Butch Hayes, and only Melvin Thomas that basically stopped Hayes going with him, and that wasn't a very subtle foul, I suppose you could say. But so,
ball and all tackle.
Second foul for that man there, Melvin Thomas, and the Falcons haven't scored this quarter. And boy, the Hawks might be missing up one end, but at least they've scored 2 baskets. So they'll be happy with the fact. Oh, Chris Steele goes all the way. Beautiful stuff. They've scored 6 unanswered points now. That's the start of the quarter that they wanted. Timeout has been called by Tom Wisman. For that very reason, I would think. It's now down to 7 points. It was 29-16 at quarter time. Now it's 29-22. Timeout with 9 minutes left in it.
Well, Alan Black will be pretty pleased with that, and the guy at the other end, Tom Wisman, is Toey Tom right now because he's not satisfied. Let's join him for a moment.
On defense. On the UCLA, let's stop the switching. They're running UCLA. Butch on the UCLA. Okay, on the UCLA cut, you stay. Okay, everything else the same. Okay, on that UCLA cut, you go down and let's let them try to force little stuff now, see what they get out of that. Right now, he's getting out there and he's getting in motion. They're getting something out of it. Okay, so no switch on the UCLA, switch on all the other stuff. Call it out when it's UCLA, so Tony knows. Call it out, okay, when he's running the UCLA. Now, we're getting good shots. Take care of it. Offensively right now, what do you want? Pick and roll. Pick and roll. Pressure release. Pressure release. Okay, pressure release. Let's go. Come on now. Come on now.
Okay. Newcastle Falcons, obviously not pleased with not scoring, but it's not panic stations, obviously.
They're just trying to work out a way to defend the offense of the Illawarra Hawks. They know what they're doing, all right. They do it themselves. Same play. So they've got to be pretty good at defending it because they'd be doing it at training all the time. So we'll watch at the other end, but right now we come down and it's a straight up Man-to-man defence from the Illawarra Hawks, and let's see how the Falcons can execute, because they haven't been able to score so far in the second quarter. Rockin attacks it and kicks it wide to Jensen. Rockin goes inside Dozy. He'll try something here, little fake. Strength doesn't go down, but he draws the foul, and he gets 2 shots for it.
And the acrobatics gets a round of applause as well. Here's the replay. He takes it. No, he steps away from Thomas, which is a pretty good move by him. Down and polishes the pine, draws the foul. And it's a Falcon side ball, but still no score. 8:45 left in the quarter, and Melvin Thomas takes a seat. And he's replaced by Stephen Voss, number 50.
Must have ruled that foul was after the shot, but I thought it was right on it. Here's inside Kuiper, and a big
that
foul.
one was on the shot.
It certainly was, and he ought to make these. Oh yes, hands everywhere, all over Paul Kuiper.
Yes, it's been called
around in disgust.
Dean Mcdonald. And Kuiper will relish the opportunity to shoot from the line. No pressures on.
Not the greatest foul shot you've ever seen, is it, from the big fella?
He says, never mind, I get 2. And that was exactly the same shot. Tom Wisman starting to yell at the guys now because they still have not scored this quarter. And the Hawks keep scoring. Down to 5 now, 29-24. And Tom Wisman is starting to get rivalable. There's substitutions coming left, right and centre here. 29-24. 8 minutes, 15 seconds left in the half. And Kuiper goes to the line again. Will the Newcastle Falcons draw some points this time? To Chuck Armisen. And I guess the Illawarra Hawks are playing the game well.
Well, they are great scrappers, and they'll really fight on. We saw Chris Steele make a great drive and open play a few moments ago to get his team closer. And now Coach Tom Wisman is ringing the changes.
And an ironic round of applause from the Falcons support base in the stands. They've scored a point. It's only taken them 4 minutes of game time. That was too short.
Kuiper's missed 3 from 4 from the line, and Grant Kruger's about to come in from him. Would have come in earlier, but it was, of course, Kuiper on the line. Goes low, great pass, Butch Hayes. Poor finish from Chuck Armisen, who's missed 2 sitters in the last few minutes. They could have levelled up by now.
Yes, he should have taken that one field. Derrick Rockin stops for 2, and that's it. So have they turned the corner.
Very, very fluid, wasn't he? Just came down, little stutter step, pull-up jumper. Never going to miss. 32-24 to the Foster's Newcastle Falcons over the Illawarra Hawks, who almost turned the ball over, but it's the way of the Hawks again. They'll take it from the side. And pretty animated Terry Dozier there, giving the drum to the young fellow. That's Marty McLean out there now having a crack at it.
Mcdonald now finds Harmison. Mcdonald again over the top.
Alley-oop.
And it works.
Stephen Voss makes it on the end of that.
And now, as predicted, Grant Kruger's in for Paul Kuiper. Terry Dozier now brings the ball back in. Derrick Rockin. 32-26. 6-point ball game. Mike Johnson turns for the jumper, and he makes it. Nicely done for 2 points. Normally a fairly low percentage shot. It was hurried, it was off balance, and Mike Johnson just showed all class to put that one in.
Yes, he's
Butch
right
Hayes
in the middle of a purple patch, isn't he? And belted Butch Hayes.
And so there he is. Marty McLean's
He's come off second best, hasn't he, here? Oh,
bonk on the nose there, and he holds it. Doesn't like it. His eyes are watering. Then Mike Johnson takes a seat. Matty Alexander in number 20 is in for him. There's Marty McLean holding that red nose, looking for a bit of blood. No, mate, no sympathy. Butch Hayes on the line now, who claims his favourite pastime is playing the bass guitar. He looks cool enough to play the bass guitar too. 34-27. Last shot.
Looks a bit like Paul McCartney, doesn't it?
No, don't be ridiculous. Paul McCartney's left-handed. Derrick Rockin.
34-28's the score. Can Rockin play the tune for the Falcons? They kick it around now. Man-to-man defence is much more solid. Voss and Kruger, two of the young Turks. Plenty of push and shove underneath. They get down low and look for a double on Dozier. Oh, inside Kruger. Yes, off the glass. Well executed offense. Strong inside. And look at Hayes. He's off to the races. Was a champion sprinter. That's why. Couldn't come up with it though. And Rockin gets caned on the way back down by Stephen Voss.
Stephen Voss has picked up another foul for himself. The mark goes next to his name. And that's his first. But noticeably, Melvin Thomas still on the bench with 3 fouls.
Yes, and 5 team fouls the Hawks, only 1 to the Falcons.
Yes, and it's still 6.5 minutes left in the half. They're going to pay dearly for that.
Especially if they put it in Derrick Rucker's hands from the line, because he won't miss.
But one feels that the ladder will be topsy-turvy after this weekend again. We've already seen the number 1 and number 2 team in the league beaten. Melbourne Tigers will probably be on top of the ladder after this weekend, and the Illawarra Hawks really trying to get into that 8. And what they really needed was teams, 6, 7 and 8 to be beaten, not the top 2. So just nothing going their way at the moment. But that man there trying to get back into it, and he's very quick. He's back there on the D now. Butch Hayes having a tremendous game, doing everything he can. Oh, look at that, the 3-pointer. The signs go up in the crowd. But number 6, Derrick Rucker, the 3-pointer.
He just used that screen magnificently. He just had one man standing out there like a colossus, a mountain. That was Grant Kruger, and he just worked it round, and look at the result. It's swish. Hits the bottom of the net. And 41-28's the scoreline. It's the Falcons over the Hawks.
Just under 6 minutes left in the first half. 41-28, the Newcastle Falcons over the Illawarra Hawks. Derrick Rucker putting in a 3-pointer. Tremendous shot just prior to the timeout. And now employing that 2 or 3 man press, really giving the Hawks a hard time bringing the ball back. The shot comes up short. Melvin Thomas takes it. Back out again.
Yeah, Brandon likes to shoot the ball. He didn't waste any time getting that one away. Straight into the game. Cold hands, no problem. Jacks it up. Here he is again. This time he just needed a sider, and down it goes. That's what he does best.
He'll think that was for 3, but it wasn't. He just had 1 toe over the line. I swear it wouldn't have been much more than the toenail. But the referee didn't miss it. Terry Dozier off to Derrick Rucker now. Butch Hayes, we're doing a reasonable job on him, but Derrick Rucker is quick as anybody. And what an assist. And Matty Alexander just trying to do everything, but boy, the defense is tremendous by the Hawks under the bucket there.
I think he was going to dunk that, and it wasn't quite there, so he had to sort of change his shot, and they go down inside, and Stephen Voss again on the end of Melvin Thomas. Pretty incisive pass, gets it free underneath for 9 points now. The lead to the Falcons, and the Hawks are just hanging around, and if they can keep doing that, they're the sort of team that can come at you in the finish.
Well, they play much the same sort of game really as the Newcastle Falcons, and just no basket. It's been called on Chris Steele, but a long way before the shot.
Strong penetration though, and it incurs the foul. They call the foul. Marty McLean had finished it off pretty well. That went down, but he'll go to the line, has to make them now and do a little tough from the line. He makes the first, he gets the second, and Grant Kruger's been in and out. He's back out of the game now. Jensen in.
Well, I don't think the Illawarra Hawks will be so worried about coming from behind, because they do that like the Falcons a fair bit. But having said that, I don't suppose anyone really likes to be behind. So it's an interesting matchup. Butch Hayes having a tremendous game. He has missed a couple, but boy, he's done everything to get there, and now he's back in defence as quick as he can. He's really sweating it out tonight. And some there it is, charging on Derrick Rucker. Let's have a look.
We're all right on this. Well, it could have been a no call there. But Butch Hayes, you've got to give it to him. He was so quick on his feet, getting in the path of Derrick Rockin, who is so fast himself, two of the quickest men playing basketball in this country, going head-to-head. And it's just a pleasure to sit here, sideline and watch it. Here's Butch Hayes, spins on Rockin. Gets it wide. Corcoran loves to shoot the ball. Great streaky shooter if he can get hot. Can't make it. They've had their chances to be right in this game. If they can get the shooting thing happening, they'll be hard to hold out, Illawarra, but right now they're a little bit cold on the floor. And the Falcons at the other end, of course, are continuing to shoot an extremely high percentage, all bar one little lull there 3 minutes into this second quarter where they found it difficult to find the basket. But right now they're looking pretty good, the Falcons. They lead by 10.
And managing to keep Melvin Thomas fairly quiet by his standards. He has been busy getting plenty of shots away. They're just not dropping. There's another three-pointer from Mike Johnson, and that really hurts. 3 minutes 30 from half-time, and it's 45-32, and there's that 13-point lead that we had at quarter time. So really all that good work just undone.
Johnson's been breaking hearts the last couple of weeks, and he's doing it again. Thomas fights back, though, strong inside. Mike Johnson hit 8 three-pointers last week, and who's to say he's not going to do it again tonight? Rockin's just ruling the roost around the top here. Doesn't make it, but Matt Alexander's there to pick up the rebound. Back to Rockin now. With Hayes, they go inside. Dozier tries to take it to the hole and does so. Just in and around Melvin Thomas, who could do naught about it. So clever offense from Terry Dozier.
Yeah, so Melvin Thomas will be increasingly under pressure to stop Terry Dozier, who will run at him now that Melvin Thomas has 3 fouls. And down the other end, I have to say Dozier is taking the money. Well, no, there's a couple in a row now from Thomas, so he's starting to square things up just a little bit, but he has been missing a few. But if he can get back into the game, then all is not lost for Illawarra here, so close to half-time. 2:25 left in it.
Here he goes. Will he dunk it for us, or just make it? He just makes it.
He scored the last 6 points for the Illawarra Hawks.
Yeah, he's very tough when he gets down low because he is so quick and very, very strong with it. And there's not too many players that can hold him in the low post. So they'll try and get him down there now, isolate him and just let him go one-on-one with Dozier because he's hitting a bit of form now and he could be hard to hold. And speaking of holding, there's one against Butch Hayes for doing just that on Derrick Rockin. And that'll give Derrick Rockin a chance to add points for his side. It'll be a 1-and-1 opportunity as the substitution comes. Mark Brandon leaves the court, and Chuck Harmison, who's been a little stop-start in offense, comes back in. And if Harmison could get going in this game, he could prove a real threat to the Falcons. It's 47-38. Newcastle over the Illawarra Hawks. Timeout is called.
Yes, and the Illawarra Hawks on 17 fouls as opposed to the Newcastle Falcons 2 this quarter. So they've really been coughing up some points from the line, unfortunately. And the Falcons have been taking as many as they can, with the exception of, say, Paul Kuiper, who's only shot 25% of his. The Hawks normally outshoot them, but the difference is, of course, if you don't go to the line, you don't get the opportunity. Here's Tom Wisman.
When the baseline comes, someone say how. I'm going to triple. I got Mcdonald. No. Hey, let's just double from Mcdonald. From Mcdonald. Okay. If McDonald's not here, it's okay. You go all the way. Go outside, you go down. I know where you are. All right. Double from McDonald. And now, offensively, let's run a pressure release inside the Terry. Don't take the jump shot as much as going at him. Up and under move, okay? Give him a chance to foul you. Either, if not that, then we run a 5th-2 for Terry. We clear out.
Falcons, Janus, put your hands together for
it appears, from what I could hear over that music, and you probably understand where I'm coming from in that respect, I could hear that they're going to double-team Dean Mcdonald, and with good reason too, because this young man has got a big future. He's in the 93 Australian under-23 team, the 1989 Australian youth squad, and he's a pretty cool customer. But in the meantime, Derrick Rockin goes to the line 1-and-1. And he picks them both up, so now it's 49-38, 11-point ball game, 2 minutes to half-time. Thomas showing some skill. Corcoran comes inside, goes baseline, and there's a good shot. Not really appreciated by the crowd. 49-40. Not too many Hawks fans made the trip up from one Steele City to another. No, we appreciated it.
No, that person up there in the stand, they enjoyed me calling his little baseline jumper there.
Terry Dozier out to Rockin, who steps around Hayes, fakes it, comes up very short, and Alexander's already fouled Thomas before their feet had hit the floor. But that's only the third foul of the quarter for the Newcastle Falcons. And it's 49-40.
Butch Hayes kicks it wide. Corcoran is out there and firing and doing some damage. Mick Corcoran, who had a stint at the magnificent University of Hawaii, which isn't too bad. Not a bad spot to learn your craft, is it?
Yes, Tom Wiseman has ripped the coat off. He's gone bananas. He didn't like that shot coming away at all. They had a plan, and you heard it in the timeout, and it just didn't work at all. Jensen comes up with his own rebound, and there's a travel. No, he's called the foul. And Tony Jensen only travelled because he had to. And I was just wondering for a minute there what they were going to call. So Eddie Crouch calling the foul here. You watch. Here he takes it. Now there's the foul, and Jensen having no option at all there.
Mcdonald, but plenty of confusion here in the defense for the Falcons at the other end, and they've allowed Mick Corcoran to get off twice, but the second time he was just wide open, and now they've got to get organised. You can see Tony Jensen there on screen talking to Derrick Rockin, trying to work out where they ought to be in defence.
Sounds like we weren't the only ones that couldn't hear Tom Wiseman because of the music.
That could be it. 49-43, and Jensen, a crack shot from the line, bullseye again. Yes, it's the Falcons, Hawks, and various other birds here tonight, and all having a good time, all very athletic.
Jensen puts it in again. 51-43, and the Newcastle Falcons on target for their average of 104 points a game. And also the Illawarra Hawks. Oh, and there's a breakdown in the knee, and the Hawks get in behind, and it's all smiles for them. But for the Falcons, despair. That all is not lost. It's a 6-point lead now.
Counting down to half-time now. 15 seconds is all that's left on the clock, so they'll try and get away the last shot, and they're going with a handy break. They lead by 6. Can they extend it? It's with Alexander now. He looks to take on Thomas, kicks around. Jensen looks one-on-one and goes straight at the hole. Won't have time to get it at the other end for Steele, and that will be half-time. A pretty impressive performance for the Falcons. A little stop-start, but they did enough to lead, and they go to the break 51-45, the 6-point advantage to the Falcons over the Illawarra Hawks.
Back here at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre, the score's 51-45, the Falcons over the Hawks, and have a look at those stats.
Well, 50% from the field for the Falcons. It was 62% at quarter time, so they went off the boil in the second term, and that allowed the Hawks back into it at 45%. They've been pretty steady throughout. Free throw percentages, well, not much there, just a basket here and there. 3 points, Falcons 37, Hawks 33, but they did hit a couple late, and the rebounding going the way of the Falcons pretty comprehensively. Turnovers, not much in it. So there your match stats. Shooting percentage there fairly even, 50-45. That was just enough to give the Falcons the edge at halftime. There's John Payne, throws the leather high, and it'll be the Illawarra Hawks with first possession of this second half. A big game for Illawarra. Their NBL title hopes and playoff hopes for 1994 are on the line right now. And, of course, the Falcons looking to really consolidate and put themselves in a great position to challenge for a top 4 berth.
Well, the Illawarra Hawks have come back into the match since the first quarter when they only shot 44% as opposed to the Falcons 62, but they are down in all respects on their average percentages for the year. The Falcons just doing a little better in each of those stats than they have been on average this season, so they're having a fairly good night. And that one doesn't go in. Melvin Thomas comes away with it, so the Hawks have every opportunity now to press home an advantage. The Falcons were up by plenty at one stage, 13 at quarter time, for example. So the Hawks now, this is the time that they'll win or lose the game in the third quarter, I guess. Well, they say.
That's the thing about the Hawks. They are a great scrapping team. Alan Black's worked wonders with them over the past 18 months, and they will not lie down. In fact, they were entitled. They could have easily been run over by the Falcons in that second quarter, but they fought back, and now they're riding with a big chance. Here's Tony Jensen. Comes round and he's met by the switching Melvin Thomas, who goes back, finds Kruger. A little bit too quick, Grant. 3 steps for the price of 2. Let's have a look at it here.
Can't really see it there.
No, he got by him okay, didn't he?
Oh, there you go. There's 3 steps.
Yep.
Yes, good call. Eddie Crouch right on the ball there. Chris Steele. Looking for Melvin Thomas, who has Terry Dozier. See what Dozier... Well, beautiful stuff. Terry Dozier's looking at it. How did that happen?
Well, can't do much about that little finger roll from downstairs. The unstoppable from Melvin Thomas, who really is playing very well now. Came good in that second quarter, and he looks like carrying on, and it's only a 4-point spread. So they've kept them right in check.
And Tom Wisman wasn't exactly happy at half-time. Well, Tony Jensen's nailed it from down in the corner. 3-pointer. 54-47. 10 minutes left in it. Have a look at that. Swish.
Seen that a couple of times on replay from Tony Jensen tonight, and it does look good. Melvin Thomas goes sliding out of court.
Yes, he took a heavy tumble, but the referee John Payne was right there on the spot. Said, get up and keep going. Nothing in it. Butch Hayes, he gets his own tip in. Look at that. Doesn't even come down.
Well, he chased after his own shot. That's what you've got to do in basketball. There was no one there to block him out, and he earned himself a second chance. So good basic skills from Butch Hayes. Comes up with a big result. Rockin going backdoor. Wasn't quite committed to it. Couldn't get by the big man. And here's Hayes. Quick hands. Tony Jensen. If they get it up the floor, they'll get a 2-on-1. They do it. Bullet-like pass. Brilliant stuff, Tony Jensen. And the simple finish from Derrick Rockin.
Well, one gets the feeling that the Illawarra Hawks are starting to come back into this match. The Falcons just managing to hang on to the lead. It's a 7-point lead at the moment, but the Hawks just seem to be dominating things there for a minute. What a block.
What
Derrick
great plays from Rucker, wasn't it? The Falcons now getting on an emotional run. Tony Jensen pulls up and can't make it. Would have been a great shot because he was really going full bore at the bucket. Pulled himself up using plenty of skill.
Even though it didn't go in, Tom Wisman very happy, and Butch Hayes just managing to get around everybody. Baseline, comes back in off glass for the layup. It's just a tremendous player. Great shot.
Quick guys playing out there, Terry, right now. You've got Rucker and Hayes and Jensen, and they are just so fast. And look at that, the steal. And the steal at the other end. That's Chris. Goes to the basket. Little push for Johnson. Gets it inside and makes it.
Very strong move from Chris Steele. And how about Butch Hayes to steal the ball in the first place? Not too many get a turnover off Derrick Rucker.
Well, the reactions of these guys are just sensational, and now it's a real close ball game, and the Falcons are in a little bit of trouble here.
Well, Grant Kruger gave himself plenty of time. Shot over the top of Melvin Thomas, but it didn't go in, so those percentages just coming down a little. Melvin Thomas with plenty of time, fakes, thought about the shot. Now he goes baseline for the jumper, and beautiful.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Melvin didn't feel like that was the right shot. I guess like a putt, you walk up to it and you say, I don't feel right about this, you walk away, and when you come back the second time and nail it, you feel pretty good. And Melvin Thomas is having a whale of a game.
56-55, and these Illawarra Hawks will not lay down. Mike Johnson can't make the 3. Now we've got 3 on 2. Butch Hayes off to Mcdonald, who takes it. And there's the 2-pointer, and the Hawks have hit the front.
Oh, what a breathtaking passage of play from the Illawarra Hawks. Some poor shot selection here from the Newcastle Falcons. Alan Black has got to be just cock-a-hoop with his side, who've done a great job to get back into this when really they looked gone at one stage early, but now they're right back into it, and Tom Wisman has seen that lead of 13-point slip, and it's now a 1-point deficit. Rucker, though, comes back into the game. That lead we thought may have been short-lived, but now they're off. And look at Thomas. Well, he did the best thing possible. He lost the ball, but still managed to knock it into a Newcastle leg, and it goes over the end line, and they'll get the ball back.
Well, the Illawarra Hawks have finally taken the lead in the third quarter after being behind for the entire game. Melvin Thomas for 3. That would have hurt. Now the Falcons get the chance to steal the lead back. One gets the feeling the rest of this game will be a seesawing, Tottering lead situation. Derrick Rockin now has to set up the play. Takes Paul Kuiper, who spins. There's the foul. He'll go to the line. That's on Mcdonald. It's 57-46. 1 point to the Hawks. But Paul Kuiper here will get 2 shots.
Spins there on Melvin Thomas.
Bang, there it is.
Strong move. Now, Kuiper, as we pointed out earlier, hasn't played a lot of minutes over recent weeks, but it's really time now for him in this game to step up. He's the biggest guy by far on the court, and if he can get out there and become menacing in the middle, as we know he can, knock down a couple of dunks, he could really get his team going again. But he only has now, what's that, 4 from 5 from the line.
He's really out there. He's really out there in place of Grant Kruger, I guess. And he's missed it again. I think the stats would be lower than that, actually. When I think he's only got 1 out of about 5 or 6.
That's right, yeah, he's missed 5 out of 6.
Butch Hayes. So the Falcons have stopped scoring, and the alley-oop doesn't work at all. Thomas just couldn't get that one. Sort of apologies by winking at each other. And now Rucker. Mike Jensen at the top. What will he do? He's looking for Rucker. There he is. Butch Hayes stays with him. Over the top, Kuiper. 3 seconds.
Well, he was in there and he used his body. He takes up plenty of space and he looks strong in the middle, but he was there for too long. It's 57-56. The Hawks over the Newcastle Falcons.
Welcome back to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. We have 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Hawks have taken the lead by 1 point for the first time in the game. They have possession through Butch Hayes.
Oh, lovely shot. Very smooth from Butch, but it's their defense that's doing it for them here. They really have shut the Falcons down. 59-56. They go backdoor Tony Jensen, but Mick Corcoran had done just enough to put him off, had him overreaching, and it's a turnover, so a chance for the Hawks to pull further ahead.
59-56, and again the man Butch Hayes has been largely responsible for this scoring turnaround, along with this man Melvin Thomas.
Yes, now that's the man who's got to score for them, because you know that Hayes and Thomas in this sort of mood are going to do the job for you. But Harmison is the third man who could come right into it and really do some damage. And now it's a 5-point lead. That's an 18-point turnaround in this game.
It certainly is. We saw a game last night where the Melbourne Tigers were down by 23 at three-quarter time and won in overtime against the Brisbane Bullets. And noticeably, the Falcons cannot score now, no matter how close they get to the basket. Butch Hayes, Derrick Rucker on him at 61-56 now with 5 minutes left in the third quarter.
In the game last week, Coach Tom Wisman was pleased. He rarely called a timeout, had very little to say, and said later it was a great game to coach because you just had to stand there. That missed. It would have been a great alley-oop, wouldn't it, from Chuck Harmison. Tonight, he's really got his work cut out. He's going to earn his money. Butch Hayes is doing just that. He goes to the basket. Oh, he puts it up and down. It goes.
Charging.
And the Chargers call it. I don't believe it. Eddie Crouch has called it. I reckon give it to him. Unbelievable, Butch Hayes.
Let's have a look at it. There's the steal. He takes it off Derrick Rucker again.
Rules are rules, but I reckon we give it up. Look at Tony Jensen now. Let's see how well he does. He gets back and squares up. Well, I guess you've got to reward Tony Jensen for that, because that defense was as brilliant as the shot which dropped. It was just a fantastic passage of play, and both players would have to be congratulated on that. Sensational.
Tony Jensen certainly didn't do anything wrong. It's just a shame to see that sort of a shot not rewarded.
Now, when you see it on the replay and you see just what Jensen did, I was probably a little bit harsh saying they ought to give it to Butch, because Jensen's work was just as good, and so was that from Rucker, and the game's alive. 61-59, just the 1 point in at Rucker. There he goes. Nice balance and down.
Just shows you the poise of the man who tried the three but had to palm off to Mike Johnson, who gave it straight back and then it went in. So Rucker's always thinking big offensive rebound. Chris Steele out for Thomas now, who takes the one-hander and still couldn't make it. So Derrick Rucker gets the rebound. And there you are, the same thing happening now up the other end. Oh, what an assist for Terry Dozier. And he makes it.
Yes. How did he take it?
It's all tied up here, 61 apiece.
You thought Paddy Borton could catch. That wasn't far behind. Terry Dozier, magnificent.
And he's forced the timeout to the Illawarra Hawks. So there you go. The shoe is on the other foot. And we've seen some scoring tonight. 61 apiece now, 3:40 left in the third quarter. And Will Butch Hayes and Melvin Thomas have been doing their bit for the Hawks. And Chuck Harmison as well. They're doing a tremendous job. But what does Alan Black have to say about it?
Okay, down, push Butch through, you come around, right, on the weak side, Mick. You're looking at Butch going post to post, and Melvin coming around on the screen. We're 3 out, 2 in after that. Okay, so we're in this now if they're in straight man. If there anything else at all, right? Anything else at all, we're either 3 out, 2 in or 4 row, depending on what they're in. Okay, so let's make sure we get that done. Defense, you know, every time they run at us, that's when they look good. Okay, so just have patience offensively. You know, we grab the offensive board, bring it out, right? Bring it out. Let's hurt them on that. We can still get something happening transition-wise, though. Right? So just because we want patience doesn't mean we don't want you to run. Right? Still run, but then we'll see what we've got. If we haven't got anything, pull it back out, we'll get something done. Okay, come on, let's go.
Well, Alan Black has some wise things to say, and it's a pretty serious skill by Fat Elvis out there on the court.
Oh, this will be good.
Yeah, here we go. He's going to dunk the ball, and they're holding up the game while he does it too. So that's the main thing. As long as Elvis can dunk the ball, then we're right to keep going. So 61 apiece, and it's 3:40 out from three-quarter time.
Yes, and it's not only Elvis back from the dead, but the Illawarra Hawks as well. They look down and out on the mat, and they've climbed up. They've hit the front, but now it's a tied-up ball game, and it's really alive. You can just see Alan Black there animated in the timeout and really encouraging his players. There's a good feel about this game. In fact, I'd suggest contest-wise, this has probably been the best quarter of basketball that we've seen all year at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. And the crowd is warming to it, chanting defence, but there's nothing that's going to stop Butch Hayes.
What a tremendous block from Tony Jensen on Butch Hayes.
Nothing but a real good block. Let's have a look at it. Well, he's going to make that, and Jensen's come from nowhere, hasn't he?
He probably hit his hand as well, but as you know, when the hand's on the ball, it's part of the ball officially. So even though there is contact there, and Butch Hayes doesn't like the fact, so they're going to. It looks like they're going to reset the shot clock here.
And Grant Kruger got a slug in got a slug in the face down there, so he's trying to get the mouth guard back into position.
So the Illawarra Hawks now fortunate to get away with possession, and Butch Hayes gets the rebound in enemy territory, and probably
tough in there.
Unfortunate not to get a foul there. Some serious defense going on. Derrick Rucker can't quite make it, so nobody willing to stamp absolute authority on the game, and Butch Hayes has just been at everything. And there's Dozier with the blocking foul. Let's take a look at it. Hayes with the assist.
Heavy contact, Dozier.
Yeah, it's Chris Steele.
A couple of little breakdowns in this zone defence from Newcastle could have been costly. They left Mick Corcoran open. It's a 1-3-1 zone defence. They're playing one front, and then they get out on the ball. And they've just been a little bit loose on it tonight, and it's been costly. Here's Corcoran. He goes inside now to Hayes. Steps away, penetration, Chris Steele, and yes, it drops for him. And the ex-Newcastle Falcon doing some damage. He's helped beat plenty of teams here at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre, but this is one game the fans will hope he doesn't do too much damage in.
There's 2:30 left in the third quarter here at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. We're in for a fantastic final quarter. Stay with us, Tony Jensen. And it's off his own foot.
Yeah. Tried to turn around and turn into traffic. Corcoran was there following him across the court.
And so Butch Hayes, with him there, Chuck Harmison, born in Germany. Chris Steele, Harmison now finds Thomas, and Jensen comes up with a turnover.
Oh, late call, wasn't it? He was off to the races.
What happened
the
there?
call?
Eddie Crouch is called what?
He's called him for going out of bounds.
Oh, I see. He trod on the sideline, did he? Or on the baseline?
It was a very late call because Jensen, he was off. He was down for 2, for
Yes,
sure.
That's what it was. There was no foul or anything. It was simply the going out of bounds. Corcoran now. Melvin Thomas will tempt Dozier into the foul. Corcoran off to Chris Steele. He thinks about the three-pointer around the corner for Chuck Harmison. Great pass.
Chris Steele enjoyed that. It was a brilliant pass, and the Falcons have done a much better job on the perimeter players. Good penetration. Look at that pinpoint pass, and Chuck Harmison draws the foul. It goes Toddy Jensen's way.
Chuck Harmison, who's a fan of George Gershwin. I don't hear too many basketball players say Gershwin is their favourite composer. And this is getting serious. Now we're starting to cheer the ones that don't go in here at Newcastle. 63-61. The fans are really getting into this game, and the players are turning it on for them too. So it's 64-61. Falcons still behind by 3.
And Toddy Jensen has 3 fouls, so just a hint of trouble for him. They really need him out there. Oh, there it is. Rockin.
Derrick Rockin has drawn that foul beautifully.
Yes, he knew exactly what he was doing. He got Hayes into some serious trouble there. Had him off the ground and just played him off a break.
I don't think Hayes wanted it to go in either. So Derrick Rockin goes to the line. This gives Falcons the opportunity, with 1 minute 40 till three-quarter time, to pull within 1.
It's going to be a big finish, and last week in the big finish, the Hawks let themselves down, took some poor shots, and allowed the Kings to run over them just in the dying stages. So I'm sure they'll have worked on that, and perhaps they'll be able to finish this game off a little better. Here's some pressure now from the Falcons. They go full court. Thomas comes up as the release player, and he relieves the pressure. It's with Chris Steele. Thomas posts up low. Kruger was over there. Still Thomas working. Double time. Now he's got it, and he goes hard, and he draws the foul. It goes against Kruger, but Thomas is really heavily involved in the game, and you could see all along that he was after that ball and ready to go one-on-one. Here's his move to the baseline. Kicks around the outside of Kruger, who brings him down in the paint.
So Grant Kruger picks up his 3rd foul for the night. Butch Hayes. Corcoran now for Melvin Thomas. Back to Corcoran, who's getting plenty of minutes here in the 3rd quarter. This has been the Illawarra Hawks quarter. 1:10 left in it, and it's 64-63. They were down by 7 at half-time. Now they're up by 1. Goes the Falcons' way.
Derrick Rockin just enough to earn the ball back, and here he is with it now. Takes it down at Hayes, who recovers well because he was caught flat-footed. Oh, Rockin. Oh, sensational play to get free. Goes after it. Kicks it wide. Dozier. Open jumper down.
And the Newcastle Falcons hit the lead with 45 left in the quarter. So can the Falcons take the psychological advantage into the break? The Hawks will get another shot, but they'll have to give it to Newcastle for the final shot at least.
Athleticism of Rockin to the 4. Here's the opportunity now.
A little pleased Tom Wisman to see Terry Dozier with all the time in the world make no mistake with the jump shot. You don't want to miss those. Thomas stops, goes off glass. Plenty of time, and they take the lead now.
Play. Hawks brilliant. Just cleared out for Thomas and allowed him to go baseline. Stuck well with his help defense, Kruger, but just wasn't good enough. Last shot of the quarter coming up.
Well, Marty McLean shooting an air ball there, but I don't think it was all his fault. There was a little bit of contact there. Was it illegal, though? That's the thing. Referees didn't think so. So there it is. It's definitely been the Hawks quarter. And there it is. 66-65. We're in for a big finish. You stay with us.
Do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No. Do you want me to slam? Yeah. Get out the way, get out the way. Do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No. Do you want me to slam? Yeah. See ya.
Presented by the Sporting
The Newcastle Entertainment Centre is the venue, and the play of the game so far between the Falcons and the Hawks is this. From Butch Hayes and Tony Jensen. Jensen at the top of the screen. Sprinting like Carl Lewis. Gets down on Butch Hayes and manages somehow to square up. You'll see him turn and face, and was there in time. Hayes buries him, and also the basket. It goes down. Look at that.
But the call? Charging foul and no score.
But one hell of a play. Just fantastic, and that's been the quality of this game so far. Falcons out to an early lead of 13 points. Hawks right back into it, and they actually go to the lead and head into the final quarter money time with their NBL hopes riding on the next 12 minutes of play with a 1-point advantage, Terry.
And the percentages have really evened up in that last quarter. The Falcons now shooting at 46. Illawarra 47. That's because the Falcons only shot 36 in that last quarter, and the Hawks shot 50%. Yeah. So the quarter belonged to Illawarra, and should the Illawarra win this game, the Falcons can thank that last quarter performance.
And Melvin Thomas in particular has been very solid in the second and third quarters of this game. Marty McLean stays out there.
And Butch Hayes doing a pretty good job on Derrick Rockin. Terry Dozier equal to the task that Melvin Thomas has set him. So immediately the score changing. 67-66 now, and the Falcons in front by 1.
Tough shot. So they come back now, play man-to-man. They go low, find Stephen Voss, who's really having to use that big stride and everything he's got, pivoting to stay clean. It's with Melvin Thomas. Wide, Chris Steele. And he buries it for 3.
So the Hawks up by 2. Derrick Rockin has to answer the challenge now. This is a very important passage of the play. Both sides looking to stay alive, but probably the Illawarra a bit more to play for, because this could be good night mercy if they lose this game. It makes it very difficult for them. Marty McLean for the 3-pointer, and in recent weeks he's been putting those down.
Well, we ought to have expected a scrap from these guys, with Illawarra desperate to win. We should have known there'd be something like this on.
Chris Steele thinks 2 in a row might be good. Oh, he did it too.
It was. He knows his way around here. He used to play for the Falcons, went to Illawarra, and has certainly improved and playing with a lot of confidence. Rockin. Yes! What a sensational basket.
So there it is, 70-69. Falcons up by 1, and only just from 3-point territory. Derrick Rockin makes no mistake. And so these two teams, which have such a very similar game plan and pattern, are really just going for it hammer and tong here. Thomas now 3 seconds on Stephen Voss. He complains, but fair enough. Derrick Rockin now taking his time. The Falcons going for a sort of a sensible game plan in offense now, rather than a hurried one. Illawarra has been working really well in offense by taking the fast break. Derrick Rockin comes inside Butch Hayes, and what a block! Melvin Thomas, we saw it against Leon Trimmingham last week, and he's done it again. He's a master at that. That couldn't work, so no one troubling the scorer, but there's action aplenty here at Newcastle.
Mick Corcoran just misses that easy shot, but they look all right when they play this scrapping sort of stuff. Double blocks, 2 in a row. Butch Hayes gets it out in the open floor. It's 3-on-2. Hayes takes it right at him and makes it through traffic like Pitt Street on a Friday afternoon. And somehow he's just gone whiz-bang from Circular Quay to George Street in quick time.
Well, this is fantastic stuff. And it's just 1-point turnarounds the whole way. 71-70 now, the Hawks over the Falcons. This could go right down to the wire, but will a team assert some authority?
Stephen Voss with a big job to do, and he can't hold Terry Dozier. So Voss taking Dozier. I don't know. Maybe they should switch Melvin back, because that time looked to have the quicks Dozier and took it to the hole for a 1-point lead at Snip and Tuck.
Melvin Thomas now. Big strong man. Finds plenty of options. Chris Steele should take... No, he's coming inside. The assist to Voss. Terry Dozier now on him, and a couple of steps.
I think it might have been a travel too. But it was a big play from Voss. Let's have a look. Yeah, can't wait to see this. He fakes.
Yes.
Let's watch his pivot foot. One. Well, no, it was okay.
You would have to argue that he stepped off on his pivot foot. There was slight movement there, but I think he basically did it right, didn't he?
We'll allow it.
Yeah, 73-72 now. Derrick Rucker. 8 minutes, 10 seconds left in this game. This all-important game. The Falcons looking to inch their way up the table a little bit. They're already in the 8. The Illawarra Hawks sitting 2 teams out of the 8.
Well, this defense from the Hawks now, they've really stepped it up. They came up and showed the numbers off the screen, and that forced Rucker wide. And then he put a ball into the middle there. It was really to no one because Grant Kruger wasn't ready, and there's plenty of rough stuff underneath, and it goes to a jump ball after all of that. But good defense from the Hawks.
Hazen Kruger and Melvin Thomas is sitting right near Rucker. Almost as if he's expecting Kruger to win the jump and give the ball to Derrick Rucker.
Well, they're handling these screens pretty well now. It's a double pick, allowing Rucker to come around the top and look for it, but they're just hedging, getting out there and letting Rucker know they're about, and then retreating on their man. That's what they did then, and they were able to get back and look after Kruger, and the ball therefore went dead as far as the Falcons were concerned. They did fight back to get it. Here's Kruger.
It's going to be re-jumped, an infringement from Melvin Thomas. And here they go again. Grant Kruger and Butch Hayes. Butch Hayes can jump out of his boots here. No, this time it comes away to Rucker because the ball was thrown a lot higher than they expected.
Pretty good play from Kruger because he had to change his whole motion then. And crunch time. And Dean Mcdonald and Terry Dozier bludgeon each other underneath.
And the important thing is, and there's the travel of all things called by John Payne on Melvin Thomas, and he just stands there looking at this one.
Grant Kruger gets down there, takes position, and forces the travel. Could have easily been a charge, but the earlier violation was called. So 73-72. We've got the Newcastle Hawks in front by a point, and there's plenty of chit-chat going on. And there's another foul call. John Payne into the action, and he calls it, I think, against Thomas. Let's check it. Or is it Chris Steele's got the arms in the air? It goes against Chris Steele, number 15, and he has something to say.
Yes, it's getting tough out there, folks. 73-72. Illawarra Hawks by 1 over the Newcastle Falcons. Substitutions. Grant Kruger's off and Paul Kuiper's on, so going for a little bit of height, and they're getting hammered, aren't they, on the boards at the moment? That's probably the reason.
Well, Bill Morty, the boxing promoter, would have been proud of what he saw. He would have liked to have put some of these guys in the ring after they went at each other in a game between the Hawks and Brisbane a few weeks ago. It led to Melvin Thomas throwing the biggest haymaker you've ever seen and copping a suspension for it. But one feels this game could not be far off that. It could blow. They go inside the foul.
No, he's trotting on the baseline in his attempt to get under the ring and pass the ball to one of his teammates. So the turnover. A couple of turnovers, actually. And we'll just see what part Paul Kuiper will play in this. Tom Wisman's obviously seeing that they're not getting the ball back from their shots, which aren't dropping at the moment. No one's really troubling the scorer. Terry Dozier. And he makes it so the Falcons grab the 1-point lead. Not too many fouls happening in this quarter.
Yep, Dozier having his best game. And they need it. They needed someone really to step up, and he's the man. Mike Johnson's back out there now. If they can get him to drill a couple of threes, could put the issue beyond doubt. But the Hawks are hanging in grimly.
So Butch Hayes now. Still looking as fresh as he did at the start of the game. Never seems to tire or fall away. Oh, there's a nice little jumper. And so the Hawks take the lead now with 6:30 left in the contest.
Waiting for Harmison to get out there and really take hold. Had a fair game. He's the sort of player in this situation who could really stand up. He's had more experience than most.
Derrick Rucker, Terry Dozier. He's going to take the shot, and Kuiper's under there. Tremendous. See, Kuiper was there to take the rebound. So the Falcons just trying to hang on to possession. That's the thing that's been costing them. 76-75. Isn't this tremendous, the way the score keeps changing all the way through the game?
Dozier's almost in a zone out there now when he gets that ball down low, really taking it at them, but this time a little over-enthusiastic in defense.
That'll be on Dozier. Let's take a look at it there. Just taking on to Melvin Thomas.
Both imports having fine games.
Yes, and Dozier only with 2 fouls too. Thomas has 3 himself. Mcdonald now. There's Thomas, goes baseline on Dozier. What a tremendous play, the left-handed finger roll.
Whatever you can do, Terry, I can do as well at the other end. So these two guys, great players in the NBL, are going at it. And it's almost two-man war out there right now.
That almost had sort of condescending disdain about it, didn't it? Just that flick, left-hander.
Here's Dozier on the roll. He's got the feel for it. Johnson. Oh, almost banked it in.
And which way does that go? Just having a look here. And Paul Kuiper managing to do plenty there. And it goes the way of the Falcons. So Kuiper already getting stuck into it there. And there you go. It's come off the Hawks. Dozier now. Finds Mike Johnson, who hasn't been nailing the threes. Kuiper off glass, he's in, and he's really made an impact since he's come on in the last minute of game time. There's 5 minutes, 10 seconds left in it. Falcons grab the lead by 1. 78-77, not the highest scoring game, but what a contest.
Just brushed them aside, then big Paul Kuiper. So the Hawks now have the opportunity here to reply. With Hayes working outside, Kuiper could have fouled. Wasn't called. They go up for it, and the ball comes down. And the referee says, I made a blue. I'm getting a bit excited here. He called it the way of the Falcons, then had to reverse the decision. He gives it back to the Hawks. 5 to go. Tom Wisman is all wound up in the bottom of your picture. The Newcastle coach.
Giving Tony Jensen an earful there. He was trying to work out what's happening to this game, because it's pretty quick. Thomas, plenty of people around him. Corcoran takes the long shot, couldn't make it, and Kuiper again grabbing the rebound. So the Falcons grabbing plenty of more possession at the moment. Tony Jensen comes back. The Illawarra Hawks have done a pretty good job. There's Tom Wisman there watching what's going on, and still a bit concerned. 4 minutes, 20 left in the game. It's anybody's. Who can finish the stronger? Terry Dozier spins. Thomas is blown out of the way, and he makes the shot.
And Thomas, his teammates pick him up off the floor.
And as that timeout is called, we see a 3-point break to the Newcastle Falcons. It's 80-77 at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. Welcome back to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. Falcons just grabbing a 3-point lead after all this quarter. There's only been 1 point in it.
And what a performance from Terry Dozier. Amazing that Alan Black should say earlier on that Dozier's not the player he was. In this quarter alone, in 6 minutes of basketball, he's hit 5 from 6 from the floor and picked up 2 fouls. That's his second. And he has 10 points, and he doesn't fancy that call much. So Dozier is carrying the Falcons on his broad shoulders. Can he continue to do so in the last 4 minutes? Melvin Thomas at the other end has also been a dynamo for his team.
Yes, they might call him mumbles, but actions speak louder than words, and his actions have been clear tonight. He's been here to play. It certainly was, and the Falcons get the turnover. Now they get the chance to shoot for maybe a 5 or even a 6-point lead. Now that could break the heart. Oh, and there's some shots. Derrick has been fouled onto the way to the hole, and he goes to the charity stripe. Have a look at this.
There's the quicks, and they really went after him. Hayes, Harmison, and then really going after it was 0-0 Paul Kuiper. Well, he made a great block at the other end. Terrific defensive play. So he's heavily involved now. He's trying to get up there and walk on air. The big fellow, Paul Kuiper. It's a 4-point lead. Make that 5. Here's the Newcastle Falcons. Is it enough?
I'll tell you what, that was an important play. Coach Alan Black didn't want the Hawks to let those in. And the Falcons have managed to take a 5-point lead, the biggest of the quarter.
They need a score right here. And the Falcons are really moving now, trying to get out to them on defense. But magnificent. Butch Hayes, they let him alone for that split second at the back of that zone, and he was able to get it away, and that's a big play for them. So 80-80, just the 1 basket in it.
And the Falcons not quick enough getting out on Butch Hayes. And still the defense is very strong. Derrick, Butch Hayes, who hasn't slowed down all night. You expect Rucker to go all night, but Butch Hayes has just hung on him. Tremendous. Derrick goes right in to Tony Jensen for 3.
Oh, right, Tony.
And the Falcons Falcons take it to 5 points. Have a look at this.
That was right on the 10-second buzzer. Great penetration. The kick wide, and that's a heartbreaker. That, in fact, could turn out to be the winning bucket. It's 85-80. Still a long way to go, 3 minutes, but that may have those guys feeling poorly, and that man feeling a shade more confident than he was just moments ago. The Newcastle coach, Tom Wisman, little fake. He doesn't go for it, Corcoran. Thought he might have put it up. Hayes does, and Hayes makes it. So inside and outside, and both clubs have hit the three.
Tremendous stuff, and both examples, a tremendous example for kids looking to put those three-pointers in. The high arcing ball. The Falcons and the Hawks just going shot for shot here. It's 85-83, but the Falcons up by 2 with possession. Derrick Rockin now. Butch Hayes on him. He goes baseline, steps away. Goes nowhere to go. Comes inside. It's a turnover.
Tried to beat the buzzer, Derrick Rucker, but the defense was fantastic because Rucker really does take some stopping, particularly in this situation, but they were able to double down on him and force that turnover. So great play from the Hawks, and 85-83. They can hit the lead with a 3 or get square if Hayes can make it on the drive, and he does it.
And he's got the shot.
Foul. Fantastic stuff, Butch Hayes.
Well, that was exactly what Illawarra wanted, somehow to take the lead, and they've done it. He's been the money man in this quarter, Butch Hayes. Derrick Rucker's on him. Manages to take him. Kuiper tries it, the block. Can't get anywhere near it. It goes in. There's the foul. So the timeout called by the Newcastle Falcons. It's 85 apiece with Butch Hayes on the line with 1 shot to come. Under 2 minutes.
Yeah, saying that it's something the kids can look at, but you've got to see how unselfish some of those plays were. We saw a great three-pointer at one end from Tony Jensen after there'd been penetration, and rather than take a difficult shot, they kicked it wide and he was able to make it. Then at the very same end, Mick Corcoran gave one up. Outside, Hayes hits 3. Let's join Newcastle coach Tom Wisman.
Get this two-man game. Okay? Michael, run it Michael's side. Get a double over here for Michael. Come on. Okay? On the other side. Now, set the double late. Set the double late. You're good on the double. You hold tight. You over here, Tony. You over here. You and Grant. Up here. Grant, stay high. Up here. Mike coming off that double there. Okay? Now, let's, defense has got to win it for us, so there's a lot of time in this ball game. A lot of time. Defense has got to win it for us. Okay? Every rebound is big, and we got to score offensively now. We got to be positive offensively.
So there it is, the Newcastle Falcons realizing that defense is going to win this ball game for them. 85 apiece. Butch Hayes has 1 shot from the line, and with under 2 minutes, the Falcons will take next possession.
Well, they have been hanging around all night, haven't they, Illawarra? We talked about their finish against the Kings last week, which wasn't all that flash as Trimmingham cut loose, but now they have an opportunity to erase the memory of that. With 2 minutes left here, Butch Hayes can put his team in front with this shot. Doesn't go. It's all tied up at 85 all. The Falcons have the ball, and therefore a very slender advantage.
And that's only the 4th shot the Illawarra Hawks have missed from the line all night, and they really needed that one. The Falcons now have possession. It's all tied up. 1:40 left in the game. Mike Johnson. Is he going to take the jumper? No, outside to Rucker. And this will be heartbreaking for Illawarra if they get so close and lose 2 weeks in a row. And great D. Grant Kruger couldn't make it. So now 85 apiece. A low-scoring game, but it's close. Illawarra gets
and they really are executing their screen and rolls very well, the Falcons. And just the finish there wasn't quite at the hoop for Grant Kruger. But they still look pretty solid in offense. Let's see how they go at the defensive end. Plenty of push and shove down low from Dozier. Turnaround jumper. Thomas can't make it. Hits the iron and foul against Grant Kruger. Holding is the call. It'll be a side ball. With 1 minute left, it's all tied up. Let's have a look at it. Hits the iron. That would have been a big play from Melvin. And Kruger is all over him.
Butch Hayes not happy at all. They draw the foul. And so with 60 seconds left in the contest, it's all square, 85 apiece.
All over him like a rash. They go outside now. Falcons fans very anxious.
There's only 2 or 3 plays left in it. Falcons very good. Oh, what a play!
Oh, yes, great stuff. Chuck Hardison, alley-oop. Backdoor, they lead by 2. The Hawks are up 87-85, 43 seconds left.
And the Hawks really need to win this game. And Grant Kruger wasn't watching. Derrick Rucker's turned the ball over. The pass went astray. That could be the ball game.
Tom Wisman wants a timeout no matter what happens here. Wouldn't they love to score? He needs the time. He's already called the timeout. If they score, they'll take it. So the clock will stop. 20 seconds left. They lead by 2 foul. And I expect a timeout from Tom Wisman. They should take the ball from the side. No, that's 5. They'll get 1 and 1, so they can kick 4 points clear if they can make them both. Wisman needs a timeout. Now he's got to sit down there and work out all the possibilities. If he misses, if he makes 1, if he makes 2, boy, that's going to be tough to get 4 back in 20 seconds.
That alley-oop was certainly the game breaker, wasn't it? That alley-oop, where the Falcons weren't watching, to give them a 2-point lead. Now we have only 18 seconds left. What's going through Alan Black's mind?
Let's find out.
Good, solid defense. If they penetrate and take it to the hole, he'll probably have a timeout wait, but let the ball bounce. Let the ball bounce. Get it in our press breaker. We've got one more. Go down the middle. Okay. You two go long. All right. If you're in any sort of danger, call a timeout. You can't call it from out of bounds zone. The ball has to be in bounds. All right. Chris hits 1. All right. Then no threes. All right. No threes. Get all over him. No threes. Okay. Step out all the time. Step out all the time and recover. Step and recover. All right. If he doesn't make any, okay, still no threes. All right. Because I think this team will go for the win. I reckon they'll go for the win.
We're on 2 fouls. I don't know.
Yeah, all right. All right, let's not win that.
I've been there.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. Alan Black there, if they can get possession back, he's told his team to even call the timeout to ensure they don't turn the ball over in the last 18 seconds. But right now, we step up to the line. And Chris Steele, who used to play here in Newcastle, is going to try and kill off for this game anyway. His former club, some of his old teammates. It's 1 and 1. If he makes the first, they need at least a 3. Can't do it. Go for 2 Falcons, although Alan Black thinks they'll go for 3. It's with Derrick Rockin. There's 2 points in it. Hawks lead 87-85. They go low. Try and draw the foul, Terry. He can't make the shot. Second chance. It goes back. It's inside. They've got the ball and tackled by Tony Jensen, who had a chance to win the game but couldn't hang on to it.
Well, 2 seconds left in it. It's 87-85. And that's the ball game. We're just having a listen here. I think it's 1 and 1 down the other end.
It is. If he misses it, it's still on. If he makes it, they've got a chance, but if he makes them both, it's all over. So 2.3 seconds is long enough, and Tom Wisman's going to have another timeout, and we might join him if we get the opportunity here and see how Tom is going to get his team out of this one, extract something from the disaster.
Well, the Illawarra Hawks have recovered beautifully to get back into this game. There's Tom Wisman just conferring with the referees, now going back to the bench to have a word to the players. What are the options?
Gotta hope that he only makes at least 1, and we're gonna have to take the 3. Okay? Let's do the Brisbane free throw here. Okay? Where we put Mike and Marty. Marty, you come in for Grant. Okay? Mike and Marty down here. All right. Honey. Terry and Derrick on the line. Okay? All right, no, Tony and Marty on the line. Okay? Derrick, you're out here. All right, now you can go to the line if you want, and then Terry take it out of bounds. Get it up to Derrick, or if we can get it up to the board quick. But come to the ball. Come to the ball. Come to it. Come to the ball.
Well, what odds extra time? Could happen. We could go into overtime if the first shot is missed, or even if the first one goes in and the second is missed, we put in the 3.
You'd want to back Butch, though, wouldn't you, to make a couple of these?
Yes, I think Butch will win the game for the Illawarra Hawks here with 2 seconds left.
He makes them both, it's all over. If he makes one, there's some sort of chance. If he misses this, well, seen it happen before. 2 seconds. He's got plenty of time to get the ball up. He's missed it. Thomas has come up with a rebound. And that's it. They have won it. The Illawarra Hawks, coming from 13 down, have kept their NBL Finals hopes alive with a magnificent win. It wasn't a high-scoring affair, but boy, was it a gutsy win, 87-85.
Well, not many people expected a shot to be missed, but then the Hawks to get the rebound. What a finish. The statistics will tell the story. It wasn't high-scoring, but it was pretty close, and what entertainment. The NBL Mitsubishi Challenge, 87-85, the Illawarra Hawks over the Newcastle Falcons. Back in a minute. Welcome back to the Newcastle Entertainment Centre, where we've seen one of the real close games of the year, and it's gone the way of the Illawarra Hawks over the Newcastle Falcons, 87-85. Now, that's not a real high-scoring game, but for the winning coach, Alan Black, I don't suppose that matters too much. You'd be keen, it doesn't matter what the score is as long as you win.
Yes, I think that sort of game really suits us, low-scoring, hard-fought game, and we've really got back to playing that way over the last 3 games.
And Alan, what about your position now? It's a very important game for you. The Gold Coast, in fact, won tonight, so it's been a mixed bag for you, but a very important win, and now you must think you'd be able to challenge.
Well, I knew the Sydney Kings wouldn't do us any favours. They don't look after the Steele City teams. But, yeah, we've sort of decided that we've got 10 games to go, and we're treating it like a new season, and we're 1-0 in our new season. So, we're definitely going after it. We haven't given up on the 8 at all, and I think the guys really showed that tonight.
Well, let's have a look at some of the stats from the game now. Well, of course, you were down early, 29-16. I suppose your team was really entitled to turn it up then, given what had happened last week.
Yes, I was really concerned at quarter time, simply because the three-point shooting of the Falcons was excellent, and I really didn't want to get into a game that was 120 points.
Well, at three-quarter time, you've hit the front, and at full time, the all-important score, 87-85, and you've captured the points. As we go through now and have a look at some of the scorers, well, there were some big games. I thought the performance of Melvin Thomas, well, he was absolutely outstanding, wasn't he, for your side?
I thought the matchup between Melvin and Terry Dozier was just outstanding, as was the one between Butch and Derrick Rockin. And I think the two of those really played very well for both sides.
Yeah, 49% from the field was a good stat. The free throw percentage, well, the Falcons had you there. Pretty nerve-wracking at the end too, missed a couple.
Oh, yeah, we missed one-on-one, 2 lots of one-on-one with 5 seconds to go or something like that. So I think they were trying to give me a coronary.
All right, and we have a look now at the rebounds, not much in that, and of course the turnovers pretty even too at 17-15. Among the big scorers tonight, well, certainly the big guns really did play well, didn't they? They got out there after it. Rucker and Dozier, they had 25 and 24. Thomas, as we said, the big game, at Hayes, 22. Well, thanks very much for being with us, Alan, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Not a problem, and all the best for Newcastle as well.
All right, and don't forget you'll see this game, which is going to be one of the closest of the round, and all the others played on Sunday basketball, hosted by Bill Woods and Steve Carfino. Sunday 12 noon till 2:30 p.m. And as Alan Black was alluding to, the Gold Coast Rollers again beating the Sydney Kings, so they're in a good position, and unfortunately it's just kept the Illawarra Hawks battling there, trying to get back into the 8. But the Illawarra Hawks will now go on, heading into the All-Star break with a road trip. They've got the North Melbourne Giants and the Canberra Cannons, isn't it? I think you've got next weekend?
Yes, life doesn't get much easier on the road, but I guess you've got to win those games if you're going to be a contender.
And as for the Newcastle Falcons, back here on Friday night against the Brisbane Bullets, not easy for them at all. In the meantime, from Greg Hendricks, this is Terry Allen from the Newcastle Entertainment Centre saying bye for now.
Let's get it on.
This program was proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi, Nintendo, McDonald's and Reebok.